Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a little bit about my last week in games. As always, we'll start with EVE Online. It's been around an average week in EVE Online, I would say. I did a little bit of mining, I did some exploration, and I kept up with my blueprint copy business mostly. So I'm making some ISK. I finished getting 5 augmented mining drones for the Orca, so I gotta be a little bit more careful with those now because they are still worth like 100 million a piece. But you're basically mining at a much higher yield than the Tech 2 mining drone, so it's a nice little upgrade. The blueprint copy business is still doing very well, especially the blueprints for the parts. The blueprints for the Raitaru itself have dropped substantially. Very first one I managed to sell for like 150 million. Now they're still going for like maybe 20 to 30 million, something in between there. So it's still a profitable copy to make, but the decline is quite quick. There are a lot of competitors on the scene. This means that a lot of people are building Raitarus though. And that gives me a great opportunity to make copies for the parts of creating a Raitaru. So the structure component of blueprint copies basically, which are selling at like 7.5 million a piece for a 5-run copy. Keep that in mind. These are blueprint copies that take a little bit of time to create, but they sell decently quickly. So my ISK is going, well, basically flat because I am of course buying all the fuel needed for the engineering complexes as well now. I'm not making a lot of extra ISK from the efforts on a normal week. If I do a little bit my extra best or I'm a little bit lucky with a few drops in exploration, I will be net in the profit. But at the moment, it's basically just more of a maintenance cycle that I'm doing when it comes to income and expenditures. I also spent a few hours in the M-O battle, the final timer for the Exile Citadel. I didn't stay there until the explosion of the Citadel because that took more than 6 hours if I'm not mistaken. I stayed there for only a few hours because it became pretty clear early on that the defenders would not have a chance to show up in the battle. There were more than 5,000 people in local, so I understand the decision from CO2 and Test to not show up. This does mean that it was basically a very one-sided situation with basically 10% die during 6 hours to get on top of an Exile Citadel. Shows quite a little bit of dedication. I also think that it marked the highest population in a nullsec system ever on TQ. So it does show that the alpha characters in EVE Online are making a difference when it comes to general population. I think we are showing some really nice numbers in EVE Online at the moment, and that just makes me look forward to the future even more, although it also cements my decision that I'm not about to join a nullsec group at the moment. Next up, we've got a tiny bit of Overwatch, so it's still just a couple of quick play games here and there. Overwatch is perfect for that. You can enjoy that in very small stints. I basically play like 15 minutes to half an hour, just grab a couple of games, have fun playing with my favorite characters, and then I come back to some more EVE Online, do something else, or if it's late in the evening, of course, that basically ends my evening. One thing that I'm noticing is that in quick play, it's decently casual. People are not all too angry. You do get the angry guys from time to time that then go on voice-com, call everybody idiots, tell everybody what to do because they think that they're the best players out there and that we would easily win if only we would listen to him. But that's definitely the exception in quick play, which makes for a fun, relaxed experience in Overwatch as long as you stick to quick play. I heard from Dagarn a few days ago. He's been also playing a little bit of ranked gameplay, and there it's a completely different story. So it's much more stressed, it's much more intense, which can be fun of course, but not if you're looking for a casual, quick experience of maybe like 30 minutes or something like that. And of course people are much more on edge when it comes to rank play. So if you're looking for that casual experience, honestly I would say just stick to quick play. I enjoy it. I think it's definitely a fun and polished game. It's got that Blizzard polish written all over it, and for me Overwatch is still something that I'm playing basically weekly, not daily, couple of days a week. I think I do jump into a few Overwatch games. That may actually change if during the winter sales we get a nice Doom sale, then I'll probably pick that up, and that probably will also mean that I'll check out the multiplayer there as well, which is what we did during the demo. So we will see. Comparing Doom to Overwatch may be pretty informational. For game number 3, we've got Path of Exile. That's also been decently casual. I'm basically working my way through the 4 acts for the first time. Now I'm in the final act, and I still basically need to get one eye and then go and confront Malachi. So it's been going decently well. I'm playing an archer that is basically built to burn through the first part of the game decently quickly and efficiently, because it's almost completely based on doing damage, which is not something you can get away with at higher difficulty levels. You need to have a decently tanky and capable fit that will escape during the boss fights when it gets into trouble and things like that. So that's the step basically that I'm not going to take, because something like that takes a lot more planning, a lot more preparation, a lot more grinding as well to get the right pieces of gear so that you can still keep up your damage and things like that. So this time for Path of Exile, it's a focus on just re-exploring the game, staying in touch with it, and taking a look at what has changed, at what Breach League has to offer. But it's not the time when I'm going to go like decently hardcore into Path of Exile, or I want to finish at the highest difficulty level, or I want to build a specific character. I have one in mind, but I'm going to wait for the Act 5, which is planned by Grinding Gear Games. So that's basically it for Path of Exile. Maybe I'll do a little bit more next week, but I think after I've gotten through the 4 acts on the first difficulty level, I'll probably look for something else to do at that point already. It may be a bit disappointing for some of you guys that do really enjoy the Path of Exile game and content, but yeah, at the moment hardcore stuff is not really in the cards for Path of Exile. It's just also a casual experience. And finally, Stellaris. I'm still playing some co-op Stellaris with my brother, and our schedule is not always working out the way we want to, so it's maybe once or twice a week if we're lucky. And we've also started a new game, started several new games in fact, but the PC has basically been giving us a lot of trouble to get a good start. So one start that happened is I got a decent start. I managed to get a few colonies going, and my brother had a pretty bad start, and we were neighbors to a militaristic guy again that really didn't like us, and he somehow, despite the fact that he was much smaller than us, and I think he only had one colony, he managed to make an army that was like twice the size of both my brother and myself combined, which was pretty crazy, but we just couldn't handle it. He crushed us and forced us to leave that game early. So your start is very important in Stellaris. Taking the right steps as well. I was maybe focusing a little bit on expansion too much early on, and then the NPCs will decide, well, you know what, we're gonna take advantage of that weakness, but it's still a little bit of a mystery to us how he managed to make such a big army so quickly without growing any real estate, any colonies or anything like that. So on much fewer resources, he basically managed to beat us in a few years in Stellaris. It was pretty crazy. So we're starting a new game once again. This time it's looking a little bit better so far. At least we've been able to establish a few colonies. Both of us have decent starts, not as great as the one I had previously, but we're surrounded by some pacifists now. So hopefully they'll leave us alone a little bit more, and we'll be able to get some more Stellaris going. I've not been recording that anymore at this point because our schedule is so difficult to do, so I'll try to get some footage for the next Sunday recap as well from what we're doing, but for this one you'll have to do with some of the footage from our previous playthrough. Anyways, that's going to be it then for this Sunday recap, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.